You're listening to the New Wave Real Talk podcast, and I'm your host, Raymond Riley. This podcast is everything Black culture, covering the latest topics in politics and entertainment.
If you have
Thank you
sat
for
in
listening.
office and haven't done a thing to further the cause of African American people in your community, then you do not deserve to hold that office. Period. A referendum on the status quo.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Happy Friday to each and every one of you guys. Thank you for tuning in to New Wave Real Talk podcast. I'm your host, Raymond Riley. Let's jump into the show. All right. So today's show is going to be, one of those type of shows where I have to stop and reflect a little bit more throughout the show. So we're going to just go ahead and start the show. We're going to talk about the story that is on many people's heart today. We're talking about Jacob Blake, shot 7 times in the back by Kenosha Police Department while he was actually attempting to reach in the car. I have seen so many point of views. I've seen so many people on my timeline and throughout social media and the news try and somehow defend the actions of the police on this particular situation. So I don't know how you can defend a police officer in a situation like this, especially when there was no actual proven documented case where he was actually a threat to the police. So when you look at the Jacob Blake case, the police shot him only 3 minutes from arriving on the scene. So within 3 minutes of the police officers getting to the location, this man was shot 7 times. So where do you get the actual leading up to the threat? Like, where does the threat come from in 3 minutes? Now, I get it. I'm not dumb. I know that it could instantly happen. But the issue in this case is that it's not documented by the recordings of the bystanders that was there. There was no actual case that there was a threat presented by Mr. Blake. So it really, it's one of those things to where it just doesn't add up. Not only was he shot within 3 minutes of the police arriving on the scene, his 3 kids was in the car, and the shots came from one police officer. One officer shot him 7 times in the back at close range. I mean, he didn't have a gun. So the new thing is now he had a knife. Okay. So you got 3 officers. Let's just play with the idea that he had a knife. You got 3 officers and a knife. Like, what type of threat realistically is that? If that is the only defense of the police department, is that he had a knife that nobody saw, that was not on the cameras. And so that still, to me, and most rational people, does not constitute a severe threat. At least not enough of a threat to shoot somebody 7 times in the back. I mean, if he had a gun and he was going to get a clip to reload, if there was already an imminent danger presented, okay, but there was no danger. So what I thought about when I looked at the Jacob Blake's story is, okay, why did the police even get there? Like, what caused them to go there? So in my research, it looks like there was a family altercation. Somebody said that he took their keys and he refused to give them back. And the police was called and they came on the scene. Within 3 minutes, the man was shot in the back 7 times. And then I look at Facebook in the timeline and you see this video circulating. Many of you guys probably have already watched that video of the police officer. It was 2 officers, a female and a male, getting their butt beat by this one white guy. I mean, he was beating them so bad. He took the baton and hit them with it, got in the squad car and drove off. But Jacob Blake shot 7 times in the back. Now, I get it. Not all agencies, not all police officers are the same. But the big question in this situation is, what led to Jacob Blake getting shot 7 times? That is the problem. The problem is that there was no threat beyond the fact that he was black. That's the only threat, that he was a black man not listening to or not obeying, in their mind, their authority. So when you are a black man and you don't necessarily listen or obey in the same temperaments that they want you to, the police officer want you to, then that is the threat in their mind, because there was no proven threat that could present bodily harm to the officers within the 3 minutes of them arriving and shooting him in the back 7 times. I mean, that's just the facts. Those are the facts. And people are becoming numb to the whole ideology of seeing people killed or severely injured like what Mr. Blake is. I mean, he survived 7 shots to the back at close range. Now he's paralyzed. Will he remain paralyzed forever? I don't know. But the reality is, I think that so many of us are becoming numb to this that it's almost like, oh, there's another one. And, you know, it just does not make sense. And then when you think about people actually defending the police officers, like, you got people that are actually on their timelines that were on my timelines, black people too. That is I get it. Not all black people are alike. Not all of us are going to think alike. But I think that black or white, like, you should look at this case, at this story, and say, 7 times? By one cop, the one officer shot him 7 times. And there were 3 officers there. And the man didn't have a gun. But because he was black, and because he didn't listen, I guess, to what they wanted him to do, they shot him 7 times. Now, I believe he had a warrant for a domestic violence or domestic case in the past in May. That is what I found in my research. So does that mean the police officers were already on heightened alert when they arrived? Could be. But 7 times in the back within 3 minutes, like, I mean, it's like when you look at these cases, every time nowadays you're finding the truth is so obvious, and then you have people that try to argue against this what is so clear, which is that this man was literally shot 7 times because, one, he was black, and then 2, he disobeyed the order. Yes, they told him to stop. Yes, they told him to come here. That cost him his mobility because he was shot 7 times. So for me, it's pretty clear. That's for me. It's pretty clear. 7 times, shot in the back within 3 minutes. Let that sink in. I mean, because those are the facts. It is what it is. That happened. Then we talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, who killed 2 people, injured another. Police drove by. Now, I will say this. Maybe I will give the police the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they didn't know that he had just murdered 2 people in cold blood and injured another. Maybe they just didn't know that when they was passing by. That is plausible. But he went home, he took a shower, and he turned himself in. He had all of the freedom to do all of this. They didn't go and raid his house. They didn't do any of the things that they do to African Americans with lesser crimes. Killed 2 people, injured another one. Walked right past the cops. Now, he was trying to surrender. I'm assuming he was trying to surrender. Where is Donald Trump? Where is Donald Trump on Kyle Rittenhouse? Where is he to denounce the actions of this 17-year-old boy who literally killed 2 people? Where is the president? Silent. Silent. But he is loud and thunderous when it comes to looters and protesters. But when 2 protesters or looters are killed by his supporters, where they were not inflicting any harm to this 17-year-old boy, he's silent. He don't denounce what Kyle Rittenhouse did. He don't denounce that. He don't use that as an opportunity to finally show that he's not racist. You know why he don't use that opportunity? Because he is. Or he just don't give a damn. One or the two. Then RNC tried to paint Donald Trump as a man who cared about everybody. But why not denounce the boy walking down the street with a long rifle and shooting 2 people? How do you know, how does that make sense? How is that okay? Well, I guess in Donald Trump's mind, it is okay. This is in Trump's hand. This is Trump's America, by the way. So we're going to talk about the RNC. We're going to talk about all of that. But let's catch a quick break. I'll be right back.
Hey, you're listening to New Wave Real Talk. We will be right back. But before we come back, I want to drop something on you real fast. Go ahead and let me know how you're liking the show. If you are watching via Facebook, go ahead and start a watch party. It's not too late. We're probably just beginning the show. So go ahead and start a watch party. Let your friends and family know to come in and get in on this conversation. So I appreciate it in advance, and we'll be right back with more of the show. So don't go anywhere. Don't leave.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. So we left off by talking about Donald Trump not actually denouncing Rittenhouse, which is a 17-year-old teenager who shot and killed two protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin. You know, it absolutely used to surprise me of how Trump mind really worked, like how he deciphered what he would comment on, what he wouldn't comment on. I think in the beginning it was all of us trying to learn this 70-plus-year-old man, right? After the 4 years of his presidency, now we know him. We know when he will speak out and when he will not. He will not speak out when there's an injustice done to people that are suspected Democrats. How can you be the American president when you solely annihilate or isolate one side of the country because they do not share your political view? You are still their president. You are still the president of Democrats. Even though you are a Republican president, you still have to be the president for everybody. As they say in the military, lottie-dottie, everybody. You're the president for everyone, not just your freaking constituents and your supporters and the people that go to your rallies and the people that wear the mega hats. Sir, you're the president of the whole country. So he talks a lot about Biden actually not understanding what he's doing and that he's incoherent. But apparently Trump is incoherent because he can't understand that he's the president for everybody. Those two victims that were protesting what happened to Jacob Blake, how do you know they're Democrats? You don't know what party they voted for, and it shouldn't matter. If someone is murdered in cold blood as the president of law and order, you should be the first person to speak out and denounce when something is wrong and denounce when someone breaks the law. Hence, Kyle Rittenhouse. Homicide. He murdered two people. And the president is silent. But he is loud and thunderous, as I said before, on the looters and the protesters. And you know why? Because it is the fear that he wants to stroke into people that are simple-minded, obviously. Because you cannot have an ounce of intelligence and tell me that you believe that all Democrats are let me not even go Democrat or Republican, that people that are protesting all believe in the same thing. Some people that are protesting believe that they can remain peaceful. And there are some people that are protesting that believe that the only way you get a result is if you raise hell. That is true. But not all protesters are the same. So to link every protester into one bucket and say that they're all violent, they're all evil, and they're trying to ruin the country, and you're the president of the country, it is counterproductive if you're trying to lead people in the right direction, to do things the right way. Well, but at the same time, we can't really expect Trump to do anything right because he's done nothing but break the law since he's been the president of the United States. That's all he's done is break the law. So let's go ahead and move on to the Democratic National Convention. My thoughts, my review on what I saw. So the Democratic National Convention, in my opinion, was a very interesting. It was interesting, and I think that it was objective. They had an objective to somehow create and show the contrast between what a Trump presidency would look like from a Biden presidency. But I want to remind everyone who's listening to this show today that we are living in a Trump's America. So when he talks about Biden you're going to be living in chaos and ruin and they're going to take over the country, that's actually happening right now. It's just that the people that are trying to take over, I'm assuming, are on the other side. right? But just remember that this is Trump's America, period. But anyway, the Democratic National Convention, in my opinion, was a solid, objective convention. It was filled with people that tried to paint the picture of a competent, courageous, empathetic, trusting man by the name of Joe Biden. I don't necessarily think, though, that the Democratic National Convention was strong enough on its own merits to go up against the RNC. Me personally, I think that the incumbent, whoever the president is, whatever political party the president is at that time, their convention should be first. Because what it does is, you don't know how to defend. Typically, I used to do debate, right? And so when you're on a debate team, you're either affirmative or negative, and then you depending on the debate, you either present first or you present second. And there's always an argument to whoever speaks first put themselves at a disadvantage, because the second person is always stronger or is in a better position, because they can actually dispute or raise question on the merits that the first person brought up, the first argument. So the Democratic National Convention tried to paint the picture of, it would be a dark America under Trump. And if you want to see it become better, vote for Biden. But what I think you saw on the RNC, which I'm going to give you my opinions on the RNC now, you saw the president literally answer almost every single negative comment towards him in the DNC and the RNC. Going to talk about the RNC, my opinions on the RNC, I think that it was a full 4 nights of lies. Let me not say that. No, there was points in the RNC that made me as a Democrat listen, and it made me a little bit more curious to some of the things they were saying. But I don't believe that the Democratic National Convention did that. I think that the RNC was stronger in the terms of actually persuading people to think bigger than what you're programmed to think. And I don't think the DNC did that. I think the DNC focused more so, the Democratic National Convention focused too heavily on trying to humanize and empathize Joe Biden and not contrast policies when they had that opportunity. The RNC really did a good job in contrasting the policies, and actually over and over and over again, which I don't agree with, they stated that the DNC had no plan, that the DNC has not presented a plan to you. But the DNC did present a plan. They did. It wasn't a contrast, though. It was, this is the way we would do it if we were president. If we were in control of this country, this is how the country would look. But the RNC really did more of a compare and contrast, and they said that this is the way it is and this is the way we want it to be. The Donald Trump acceptance speech last night was long. I fell asleep. It was just too long. It was too long. But he fought his heart out, trying to fight his heart out in his acceptance speech. And I think that ultimately, if I had to pick a winner between the two conventions this year, I think the RNC convention, the Republican National Convention, actually moved people from one side to the other. I think that Senator Tim Scott's speech, his speech set up so much of people's thinking. There are so many black voters that are moderates, like myself. I consider myself to be a moderate. I consider myself to be in the middle. There are a lot of Democratic constituents that are in the middle. And one of the things that we cannot get over is the fact that Biden has been in public office for 47 years. And that a lot of the things that he's talking about wanting and needing to change has not changed in 47 years. That is a tough argument to debate. But here is one of the things that I would tell any moderate that's listening to this show today. One man cannot change the world. And I think that when you understand that, it gives you some preference to think bigger than 47 years. But that RNC this week caused a lot of moderate Democrats to think. And I don't think the Democratic National Convention did the same for Republicans. I don't think so. But that's my opinion. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it. We'll be right back. We're going to talk a little bit more about the march on Washington. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, family? I'm Raymond, and thank you so much for your support of New Wave Real Talk. As I said before many times, this channel is for us, by us, everything black culture. So if you're liking what you're hearing on the show, let me know by dropping a comment, smash the like button, and let me know. Also, if you're watching the show and you want to be a featured guest on the show, hit me up. The email is in the description, wherever you're finding this video, and let's bring you on. If you got something positive to share regarding black culture or just culture in general, you're welcome. You're welcome here. So know that. And I'll be right back.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're talking about right now, if you are just coming into the show, we are talking about the March on Washington 2020 happening right now. I caught bits and pieces of it today while working. But I will tell you, man, I will be 100% with you. I think that it is an event that in any other time, it's just another event. In a sense, it's really never just another event because it is such a consequential message and point that we do it, that people march on Washington, that goes to Washington, that advocates for civil rights and the protection of those rights. But today and yesterday, many people went to Washington to convene to talk about the current state of America as it relates to Black America and the injustices that are happening every single day. Well, for me, one of the things that stood out, or one of the speeches that stood out, is from Jacob Blake's sister, Latitra Whitman. She said, I quote, "We will not be a footstool to oppression." I mean, to me, that was the best way to sum up the goal and mission. You cannot, and we will not, continue to be the footstool to oppression. It cannot continue to happen. And she also talked about Black America, we must stand up. She said, the Black America, I hold you accountable. You must stand, you must fight, but not in violence and not with chaos. So that brings up to me a good point of the show that I want to mention, that so many Republicans and so many right-wing people like to stir up, and they like to, and I don't know if this is all intentional. I believe that in some way it is all intentional to basically typecast and to put everybody who support Black Lives Matter into this extremist group, right? That says that these are the people that are stroking the hatred and violence and chaos in America. And that's just not true. So many times when we have this happen, police shootings, either with it, most 9 out of the 10 times resulting in someone's death. In this particular case with Jacob Blake, it did not result in death, but it resulted in a completely new way of life for Jacob Blake that, you know, I mean, but so many times that the Republicans and the right-wing people try to say that the families of these victims are somehow in cahoots with Black Lives Matter to sow chaos. First of all, most of these families, all of these families, none of these families asked for their loved ones to be killed by police officers or injured or whatever. Nobody asked for this, right? But so many times, more often than not, Black families, the victims' families, advocate. The first thing they normally say is, we want people to be peaceful. No violence. No violence. So right-wing extremists are retaliating to who? Because the families are telling you and the people that support the victims to not riot, to not loot. The victims' families, 9 out of the 10 cases, are advocating peace, but they're advocating change. But they're not advocating go out and burn some shit. That's not what the victim's family tell you to do. But if you watch Fox News and if you watch some of Donald Trump's supporters, they will tell you that it's because of the victims that chaos is breaking out. And somehow Democrats are responsible for that. But anyway, the March on Washington is happening right now. So I would definitely encourage all of you guys to tune in. They have a virtual, I believe, way for you to listen to all of the speeches and to become a part of the march. So definitely do that. Also, we got to vote for our lives, ladies and gentlemen. This is the most consequential election in American history, in my opinion. So we need to go out and vote like our lives were on the line, because at the end of the day, they are. The people that are in control are responsible for either perpetuating the chaos or calming the chaos. We have a president in the White House right now who seemed to magically always have nothing to say when it matters, but has everything to say when he should shut his mouth. So your lives are on the line. All of our lives are on the line if we do not go out this November 3rd and elect Joe Biden. He may not be perfect, but he's not Donald Trump. It makes no sense to me that the president of the United States is silent right now. He is silent. And his own advisor, Kellyanne Conway, stated that violence in America only helps the president. And that make sense as to why he's not coming out and saying that it needs to stop. So in essence, he don't give a darn about me or you, because his own advisor said that the violence helps him. It helps him. So he's not interested in curing the violence. He's only interested in perpetuating it, making it worse. And silence equals, what does it equals? What does it equals, guys? Ask yourself that. If you're silent, if you watch someone get murdered in cold blood and you say nothing, you don't try to stop it, you don't report it, you don't say anything, you're complicit. You're now involved with that murder. It's called an accessory. You can go to jail. You can literally go to jail if you are an accessory to a crime. But our president is watching America fall apart, and because it helps him, as his own advisor stated, he is not interested in curing the problem. He's not interested. His focus is on November 3rd. But guess what? I'll tell you, you are living in Trump America right now, as far as the violence. This is under Donald Trump's control. I believe that we all have to use our own brain, and we have to all understand where we are. We do. There were so many people on my timeline that defended Donald Trump from being a racist. They defend him when he is silent in events like this. When he goes to Charlottesville, where literally white supremacists were in the public screaming and chanting hateful messages, he stated that there were good people on both sides. Anyway, I'm not CNN, I'm not Fox News, I'm me. I'm just telling y'all what I think. So definitely vote like your lives depended on it. Early voting begins in Georgia October 12th and ends Friday, October 30th. Contact your county for a specific time where you can vote. Go out and vote like your life counted on it, because it does. I'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, family? I'm Raymond, and thank you so much for your support of New Wave Real Talk. As I said before many times, this channel is for us, by us, everything black culture. So if you're liking what you're hearing on the show, let me know by dropping a comment, smash the like button, and let me know. Also, if you're watching the show and you want to be a featured guest on the show, hit me up. The email is in the description, wherever you're finding this video, and let's bring you on. If you got something positive to share regarding black culture or just culture in general, you're welcome. You're welcome here. So know that. And I'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. We're back. So we're talking about now Joe Biden is back on the campaign trail. Joe Biden is going back on the campaign trail next week. He's leaving the basement, going back to a city and state near you to go out and stomp on the campaign trail. I hope that it's not too late for him to actually rally people around him so that he can actually be victorious in November. Thank each and every one of you guys for listening to the New Wave Real Talk podcast today. that's gonna do the show. Thank you for being a good supportive of the podcast and of everything we do here at New Wave Real Talk. So I'm excited about the future of the show. More details will come. Hopefully you like this show today. If you are just getting here, definitely go back and watch the show. Very good show. And comment, let me know what your thoughts are. You guys take care, man. Be safe. Understand the America that we live in, and just make good decisions the best you can. I'll see you when I see you. Take care.